Lesson 9.5, Video 6. So we look at our denominators here, remembering of course that our 1 should be 1 over 1, and we see that they are both binomials, so both should be factored if possible, so we can get a clearer picture of what's going on. I see the first one has a b in common, so I take out a b and I get b plus 6. The second one also has a b in common, and when I factor that out I get a b plus 1. Now, the common denominator in this case will need to have a b, you'll need to have a b plus 1, you'll need to have a b plus 6 because they are all separate things and all needed. One quick thought also, the numerator of the first fractions is trinomial. You could try and factor that and see if I could cancel anything out in that one fraction, thus making the fractions simpler, which makes sometimes the common denominator simpler, but that would not happen in this case. So just food for thought, but I did look at that and it does not cancel anything out, so I'm going to leave it as is. So once we have our common denominator, we have to consider what our excluded values would be, and that means b cannot be a 0, a -1, or a -6. 0, of course, would cause that to become a 0, -1 would cause that binomial to become 0, and -6 would cause that binomial to become 0. So on to getting a common denominator. Now our first one has a b plus 6, so it needs a b plus 1. Knowing, of course, that you have to distribute a binomial into a trinomial, which is going to be a little bit of work, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. The second fraction needs a b plus 6, and the last one needs everything. So b plus 1, b plus 6. So our first one has a big foiling process, or not foiling but distribution process. So if I distribute the b, I get b cubed plus 6b squared minus 16b. I distribute the 1, which is nice because it's going to be exactly the same. As it is. The second fraction has just to be multiplied times 1, so it's just going to be a b, a positive b, plus 6. And the last one needs everything. So I'm going to first distribute that, and I get b squared plus b. So now I have this going on. So there I have to distribute yet. So before I do that, I'm going to clean up the left side. I have a b cubed. I have 6b squared and 2b squared, so plus 7b squared. I have those b's, so -16 plus 6 plus 1 would give us a -9b, and -16 plus 6 gives us -10. On the right side, I will have, when I FOIL this, I have b cubed plus 6b squared plus b squared plus 6b. Alright, so we start combining like terms. On the right side, I can clean that up a little bit, and I get b cubed. These two together give us plus 7b squared plus 6b. So now we start combining like terms, but be faithful and true to our process here. Maybe some good things will happen, even though it seems crazy. If I subtract b cubed, they cancel. Well, there's good news. That's makes it a little bit easier. If I subtract 7b squared, they cancel. So that's even better news. So now we have minus 9b minus 10 equals 6b. Much easier to solve. So I'm going to add 9b to both sides, and I get minus 10 equals 15b, and divide by 15, and b is equal to a negative 10/15, which is a negative 2/3, which is not one of our excluded values, so it works. This ends lesson 9.5, video 6.